What is going on, GPC fans out there? Welcome back to another video of mine. My audio is getting caught. Yes, okay. And yeah, welcome back to another video of mine. I'm Mr. Josh, and I'll be bringing you my GPC Season 7 Week 2 match versus TurboBlazeIV and the Phoenix Midnight. Really interesting team due to its very offensive capabilities, as you'll see in the team builder. As you'll see, we're on battle area because why not? You can see my team of 6 that I brought. One of them being, the meme coming week 2, and I guess you'll hear my reasoning for it. But yeah, because you can see his team, his first 6 picks, even Empoleon, are really offensive Pokemon. Obviously, Empoleon has like base 111 special attack or something of that sort. I can check just to be sure. Yeah, 111 special attack, which is sky high. A point over 110, meaning you're just hitting really hard at that point. If you're on modest, you're hitting like 350, probably 352 or something. And yeah, Zard, one of the most hard-hitting Pokemon out there, really. Bulu with grassy terrain, and Hornleech and Woodhammer hits like a truck. Diggersby, minus the grassy terrain, weakness with Earthquake, it's a really strong Pokemon and pairs really well with what he has. With Bulu obviously being able to break bulky steels, but Zard can obviously do that as well. But Diggersby can do it in a much more mannered way since it has a straight raw power. And Zard, most of the time it likes to be a bulkier DD set for the most part, but that's not all the time. Thundurus is really good because it just breaks down the bulky waters, likes the Bulu, but of course it gives them that speed tier of it's a very high speed tier. With base 111, you're outspeeding base 110s, and that's always fantastic. Outspeeding the Mega Diancys, etc., etc. You got Empoleon, of course, being strong. I mean, I can go over his team all day, but that's not my job. I'm just trying to, record my battle. But yeah, just overall with his team, his first 6 picks are really offensive, and 7 through 11 are more, support picks of Piloswine. I would know myself. Piloswine is great at being a support mon versus offensive electric types, for sure. And then you got, Weezing being a defensive Pokemon. It's known for being Hitmontop, being a spinner, Leavanny for webs, etc., etc. Can even knock off and need be.
What's up, losers?
Yeah, that's Daniel, but let's just ignore that for the most part. Yeah, it was a pretty threatening team to prep for, so I went with my friend Hunter, and we thought this out. I looked at his replay for week 1, and I was thinking what he liked to do in terms of control, and he liked to have the speed. I noticed that he not with T-Wave, but his team really thrives off being able to outspeed stuff, so I definitely expected a Scarfer out there, whether it be Scarf Diggersby or Scarf Hoopa, but at the same time, Specs Hoopa really just murdered my walls, so I figured Specs was coming. Specs Diggersby is good for being able to outspeed my offensive threats like Kieran Black. He can just hit it up with an Earthquake / return and do a lot of damage to me. And, but anyways, as I was thinking with Hunter, I was thinking, okay, I definitely expect Zard to come. I expect Bulu is kind of a 50-50. It could come because it kind of does well versus Gastrodon and such, but just gets kind of hard walled by Venusaur. Bard can run Zen Headbutt, but since he's not like a Z move Bulu, he can't run like Shattered Psyche, and do a lot of damage. Plus, there's a risk of me outspeeding if I choose to run a lot of speed, but spoilers, I definitely do not. Diggersby was, yeah, I expected it, but Thundurus I 100% expected because with Psychic, Volt Switch, Grass Knot, Focus Blast, it pretty much hits my entire team, and that's really not good. Empoleon, yeah, I expected it as a rocker, but if you brought Piloswine, it could just be a straight support defogger. Hoopa and Bound 100% expected to come. It's literally the definition of a wall breaker, and you definitely want a wall breaker versus my team, considering what I have. Hitmontop, definitely did not expect it at all. Had a horrible matchup versus my team. Aerodactyl, as an offensive set, it actually just straight up does a lot to my team. With the combination of Edge, Flying type move, Earthquake, or Crunch, it definitely does a lot, which is actually why I had Gastrodon. Originally, we had Typhlosion on the team, but then I debated Metagross because obviously it's a great check to Bulu, and it can hit, Empoleon with a Hammer Arm, and the Steel Stab was just really good versus his team looking at it on paper, but Gastrodon was definitely 100% needed, and I'll explain why. And but yeah, but Piloswine, yeah, I definitely expect it to come because I mean, it kind of handles moves from Kieran Black, especially physical attacks, and Ice Beam, even through Terravolt, won't do too much to Pilot's Funny if he's spit def. So it was something I expected. Wheezing, maybe, but not really. I didn't really see what Wheezing could do, except maybe set T-Spikes, but with Skuntank being a pretty viable option versus his team, I didn't think he would do that. Leafani, like I said, I expected him to try to have speed control, so webs were a thing for sure, and Poniard, definitely something that I didn't think was coming at all. So anyways, I put that all in mind. I prepped for a long time. Like, if I would definitely say I prepped for a good 3 hours in terms of just trying to gather up EVs and moves and such, especially on Kieran Black and Gastron. I had no idea what 4 moves to run. I had 3, but definitely not 4. But you'll see what I had right now. As first Pokemon is Mega Venusaur. A typical max defense set because he has Diggersby, and I want to be able to eat hits from Diggersby pretty well. Giga Drain hits it really hard. It will not OHKO it, but it will hit it really hard. Sludge Bomb is good for hitting Zard. It will 2 KO Zard most of the time, as long as he's not too bulky. Obviously, it's going to murder Bulu, which is always fun. But with the combination of Grass and Poison, I hit his team really decently hard. The only thing that really I don't hit really hard is Wheezing, which Wheezing actually kind of stops me pretty handily. But with Roar, I can just roar him out. Roar is also good for setup sweepers like Charizard. If it tries to DD up on my face, I can just roar him out. And with Rock Up, potentially, he takes another 25%, putting him in range of one of my moves from Kieran Black, as you'll see. Roar is also just pretty good for stuff like Agility and Polar if it tries to set up on my face, SD Diggersby, but if it's in range of Giga Drain, I'll just click Giga Drain either way. Maybe even like Home Claws or Aerodactyl if it's not in range of my offensive moves, like Giga Drain. So, stuff of that nature. And Synthesis, obviously, for the longevity. I was thinking about Synthesis, but Leech Seed, excuse me, but Synthesis was definitely the better option, looking back at it. And just there's enough defense to do what need be. I have some speed in case Bulu's trying to just outspeed a no-speed Venusaur, but I definitely expect it to run like enough speed to outspeed maybe a neutral nature max speed base 80 from like Togekiss, but like that was pretty much it. And just enough into Spadef to live like enough hits from its special attackers. I take a Psychic reasonably well from Thundurus, but if it's Life Orb max special attack, I definitely don't want to. And I can take a Spec Side Shock from Hoopa Unbound just because of my defense, but Psychic, no. That's a little bit iffy. Anyways, next is my Kieran Black. Whoops. I hope this was not the nature I had in the match, but I'm pretty sure I had a freaking Hasty, so don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, as you can see, we had enough speed to outspeed a Leafani, and if he decides to bring a bulkier Zard like he did week 1, I outspeeded it as well. Dragon Claw, it will kill a Zard X after it rocks it as long as he's not too bulky, and with the Habomberry, I can take a Dragon Claw really well. Even if he's +1 and I'm at full, I definitely take it like a champ. And I was thinking at first my 3 moves were Dragon Claw, Ice Beam, and Fusion Bolt because Fusion Bolt is essential for the Empoleon and Ice Beam is good for Bulu because I don't want to have to run like Freeze Shock with Z move because the berry with the Habom Berry is definitely huge and it definitely came in huge in the matchup as you'll see. So my last move I was really iffy. I was thinking about Sub, Home Claws, Roost, but I decided to go with Focus Blast because it does hit Piloswine really hard, and if it tries to kill me off and if he's in range, I could definitely kill him off with Focus Blast because my other moves won't do too much to it because, Claw, Dragon Claw, due to its high defense, it just won't do too much to it, but Blast, if he's not too specially defensive invested, will do a lot. And, just enough special attack too. OHKO's Diggersby after Rocks if he's not too HP invested. Same with Thundurus. Actually, no, Thundurus just dies after Rocks. Without Rocks, it's a roll. And it's also good for just hitting, like, Wheezing pretty hard. It's like, even if he's Fizz Def, it 2 it kills after Rocks, I'm pretty sure. Same for, like, Aerodactyl and even Zard, but, like, if it decides to switch, it's gonna take a hefty hit, but yeah, not much more to say. That's all Kieran Black is meant to do. Just be able to hit on both sides, essentially. Next is Fishmolia the Gastrodon. Fizz Def because I didn't know how well this thing took a Dragon Claw from Zard, but it actually takes it exponentially well. I was really surprised to see how well it took it. I was really surprised, to believe it or not. But actually, you know what? Looking back at it, I think I actually did put Rash on this because this was I haven't touched this since I went into the game, so that might have actually saved me. Well, yeah, I guess you'll see what I mean after the game when the game starts. But yeah, as you can see, Fish Moly running Protect because I want to scout for Grass Knot on Empoleon, because if he's not offensive, if he's more of a utility set, he might not have it, so I can scout just in case if he doesn't. I can also scout for Toxic that way, cover for longevity, and Scald and Earth Power for just dual stab and hitting this team pretty decently hard. At first I had Sludge Wave in case he did bring Bulu and he wanted to be aggressive on my obvious Venusaur switch in and have like Zen Headbutt or SD. Sludge Wave would obviously just destroy it, but I decided to run Protect because with Bulu around I can scout for what it goes for if it's choice, and I can potentially get 12.5% recovery in the game. And yeah, that's not much more to say. Next is Garaflepu. It's my best way to check a Specs Hoopa Unbound. I don't think he's bringing physical, so I decided to just invest a lot into my Spadef. I don't need any HP since Skuntank just has a nice HP stat to begin with. It's enough attack to do good damage to his whole team. It Crunch will 2 KO Thundurus, and it does damage to Thundurus. It does a decent amount to Hoopa Unbound. After two rounds of rocks, I believe it dies to Crunch. If he's no HP, of course. And Taunt is on there for Wheezing because I'll beat Wheezing 1v1 with Taunt, of course, because Fire Blast / Flamethrower will not do too much to me if he's not invested, obviously. And just want to dual stab. Sucker Punch is there for just picking stuff off if they're weakened. And yeah, not much more to say. That's what it's here for. Next is my Fizz Def Bronzor with Stealth Rock Slide with Toxic and Reflect. Reflect is for because, you know, if he's smart, he'll realize that Charizard sets up on this thing because my best way to hit it is Psywave and with Roost. And if he's not toxic, I don't beat it, and he could potentially get a lot of boost and kind of sweep me from there. So I felt like Reflect in combination of Gastron would be pretty cool if I predict the Zard to come in. Toxic is also pretty cool. I can work down that way, put in range of my Earth Powers after a few toxic damage. And Psywave is just for it's not consistent obviously, but it's for potential good damage because with a decent roll, it can do a lot, believe it or not, in case you guys don't know what Psywave does. And his only immunity, he has 2 immunities to Psywave, being Hoopa Unbound being one of his biggest threats, and Poniard. I don't expect Poniard, so it's okay. And yeah, I mean, not much more to say. It's Fizz Def because I didn't think I needed Spadef investment. Still takes electric moves from Thunders decently well, but not too well. Anyways, that's Bronzor. That's the meme itself. It's coming, which is pretty cool. Next is my face when I see Stall, the Togekiss, running the Air Slash, T-Wave, Roost, and Defog. It's enough speed to outspeed a Max Adamant Diggersby. Yes, Max Adamant Diggersby. And I have Air Slash, T-Wave, Roost, and Defog. It's a bulkier set. I want to try to T-Wave the Zard if need be. I can also T-Wave a lot of his team down. Basically, the Zard is what I'm really looking for. And I can even do it to the Hoopa because I can live a hit like a Psyshock. I believe I can even live a Psychic from if I have enough HP up, which is pretty cool. I have Roostus for the longevity and Defog if I want to support my Kyurem block because rocks could potentially be pretty detrimental. And yeah, not much more to say. So yeah, let's just hop right into the game. And as you can see, he brought the Empoleon, Piloswine, Diggersby, Aerodactyl, Zard, and Hoopa. Still a pretty threatening team. Obviously, he has the Zard X, Diggersby, and Hoopa Unbound. And I expected a Life Orb Aerodactyl, but I don't know what kind of Aerodactyl it is looking at the team. It could be, looks like support Empoleon, but it can easily be offensive, and then it definitely looks like support Piloswine. But it can easily be like max HP, max attack, because Piloswine can do that. So anyways, I'm looking at the matchup, and I just want to get my rocks up because it's really good for. Oh, sorry for the ear rape. Anyways, he leads with Diggersby as he goes for the knockoff, and I'm looking at the damage. It's definitely a non-boosting item, not banded, obviously not Life Orb. So my first guess is definitely that this is the Scarfmon that he brought because it makes sense versus my team. I don't have the best normal resist in the world once Bronzor dies because in fact I don't have a normal resist after Bronzor dies, so it makes sense to be a Scarfer. So at this point, I'm going to go into my Venusaur because I just predict him to go for another knockoff because I do believe he is indeed Scarf. As at this point, I'm just going to click Giga Drain as he decides to go hard Hoopa Unbound, which is a good play. If I had knockoff, I definitely would have clicked it there, but obviously I don't have it. Let's go for the Giga Drain, do 25%. That tells me it's about it looks like a max, it looks like a near no HP Hoopa. If it's a low roll, it's a low roll if he's no HP, but if he has some HP, it's probably just a mid roll Giga Drain. So at this point, I'm going to go into my Skuntank, but he makes a good double and goes into the Palace line. And you have no idea how close I was to clicking Taunt as I went into the Skuntank, because rocks are good versus my team too. But I didn't want to make the play. It was too risky because Skuntank is absolutely essential as he goes for the rocks. And at this point, I predict the Zard to come in because, like I said, Zard can easily set up on a Bronzor for the most part. So I do get the Reflect up, and at this point, I could T-Wave him with Togekiss, but Togekiss is looking like it's not going to have the easiest time getting in, especially with rocks up. So I decided to just drop a Toxic, and I feel like I can deal with this thing without having to Thunder Wave it. And now at this point, I predict the Flare Blitz. I don't think he'll start going for DD just yet. And as indeed, he does go for the Flare Blitz, and my Fish Molly just eats it for breakfast. And at this point, I could fire off an Earth Power considering his only immunity is the Aerodactyl, but I feel like he'll try to go into it because he can't afford to go into much of anything at this point, especially the Empoleon, because he doesn't want that getting weakened.
See my penis.
Stop it, Daniel. Anyways, so at this point, I'm just gonna click Scald as he actually does go into the Aerodactyl, and I wasn't sure if this would actually die, but Gastron is definitely pretty strong, and it definitely just kills the Aerodactyl after rock. So I don't get to see what that thing even was. So unfortunate. Anyways, at this point, I want to scout for what this Empoleon is. So I click Protect as he goes straight for the Agility, which is really scary. I didn't expect Agility Empoleon at all. Sorry, I had to take a pause really quick. Anyways, I'm really scared about what this Empoleon's gonna do. And at this point, I'm just going to click Earth Power, as he actually clicks Flash Cannon. I'm guessing he was just predicting me to switch, which is kind of good, kind of bad, because I click Earth Power and I activate the Weakness Policy. I should have expected that, seeing it was Weakness Agility, as I get this Pedef Drop and I actually activate its attack, but luckily I don't think he's a physical Empoleon, so I don't have to deal with that. So now at this point, I click Protect because I'm going to still scout for Grass Knot, as he actually clicks it here, so he actually did just try to make a hard read on the Venusaur, which it's an okay play. I wasn't going to die to a modest max special attack Grass Knot anyways, because I did calc it. Anyways, I just decided to sack Bronzor here, which is unfortunate because it would have been great to have as a Scarf Diggersby sack, but it's okay. And now at this point, this is potentially a misplay, but this game was really early. It was like 8 AM, maybe 9 AM when I started playing, and I just woke up. Literally 20 minutes after I woke up, I started battling this guy, and I didn't want to go into Skuntank and play Sucker Punch games this early. I just really didn't want to, and if I lost the Sucker Punch war and my Skuntank died, I lost straight up to just like Scarf Hoopa. So at this point, I know my Venusaur lives any hit, and I just decided to click Giga Drain and kill this thing off, as I take a million and I get a Spadef Drop, which is always fun. Sorry, I had to pause again. I apologize. Anyways, I go into this thing. I didn't want to play Sucker Punch Wars, like I said, as he almost does kill me, but I calculated I don't die to a +2 modest Flash Cannon. And honestly, I should have gone hard into this thing to begin with, because without the Weakness Policy, it actually wasn't touching my Venusaur that well, and I would have been able to preserve HP on my Venusaur, and it might have been an easier game. Anyways, he goes into the Diggersby. I just decide to sack the Togekiss because it doesn't do much at this point. And at this point, I'm just thinking I have to force this thing out. I'm going to pretend I'm Scarf Kyurem, as he does take the bait as he goes into the Hoopa. As the way he sent this in, I'm really thinking this is Scarf as well. So I'm thinking he brought Dual Scarf, which makes sense because like I said, he wants to have the speed control over my team. It definitely makes sense. As I wanted to click Sucker Punch here, but he just decided to click Hyperspace Fury. I thought he would save this because having the Dual Scarf made a lot of sense, because having that speed at the end of the game might have actually been really helpful for him. But I didn't need HP on this thing anyways. It was going to die to almost anything. This time I decided to click Sucker Punch and get a clean amount of damage, and he is going to click Return, meaning he does get the Aftermath as well. So he's going to go down to 20%, but it died to everything on my team at this point. So now at this point, he knows I'm not Scarf Kyurem, because I would have just killed the Hoopa Unbound otherwise. So I'm forced to go into the Gastrodon and just kill this thing off. And there is a chance that he could actually save this, and if he were to do that, it'd be a really tricky situation, because let's say he switches and goes in to say Palace Point on my Scald, I would have to play around the fact that he has Toxic, and if he does have it, I could make an aggressive switch into my Venusaur, or I can click Protect the Scouted, but at that point it'd be a 50-50, because my Venusaur doesn't actually die to a Ice Shard if he's not physically offensive, and if he's max Adamant, it's a roll. So I'm thinking about if he saves this, it's going to be really complicated, but luckily he doesn't, he just chooses to sack it, so now this game is easily winnable, as I killed a Diggersby, and as you'll see I go up to 35%, and Zard's going to come in, and I do definitely die to a max attack Jolly Dragon Claw no matter what. So that's unfortunate, and I do find out he was actually Adamant Diggersby from the return damage. I thought he was Jolly the whole game, but he truly was Adamant. Anyways, at this point, to play the game, he clicks D-Claw as my Habonberry activates, and I live, and I kill him off with the Zard. So at this point, if he was max attack Adamant, max attack Jolly Zard, it was a roll in his favor with what's it called? A hasty nature. But I just checked on my team builder right now, and I swear to God, I have not touched it since I literally pasted it into my laptop to play this morning. So I do think I was actually a rash nature Cure in Black, which, does it still lower your defense? I don't know. I think it still does. No, it lowers your Spadef, so if I was minus defense like I originally was supposed to, that Dragon Claw was a roll in his favor to kill me. But with a rash nature, I definitely live any hit from that range, so that's actually really awkward. I don't know what to say about that. Like, a mistake with my nature might have actually won me the game. I don't really know. As he doesn't click Ice Shard here, meaning I don't think he has it, but I'm gonna be safe anyways. And I'm gonna click the Giga Drain killed from that range anyways, but I wanted to be safe, and I liked my Venusaur being at a good amount of HP, so I click Synthesis and I click Giga Drain, and that is good game to my opponent. So I'll check his team builder after the game is over to see what his investment was on his Zard, but if I was originally the hasty nature like I was originally, this game might have been completely different. I might have actually lost, because the D-Claw was a roll in his favor if he was max attack Jolly. And I definitely thought I was, but apparently I was rash, and I don't know why. It's weird. That's never happened to me. But anyways, that's all for me. So I'll be seeing y'all next time. So yeah, au revoir and peace.